All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. Good morning and welcome to the weekly wave. Our first slide has to do with the October 1st consolidated report. Right now, everybody has 7 days and counting until the report is due. And the districts, you must certify it by November 1st, 2021. If you work it early, it gives you a chance to allow for any issues that need to be corrected prior to the due date. And just FYI that the consolidated report and the child count for SPED are actually two different reports. They're not the same. So if you have that question, I just answered it. So we'll go on to the FQSR. Just so you know, the comparison report has been removed from the FQSR, and the same layout, you can use the final report. It looks the same. You just can't update or upload your information and compare it. We're also having issues with transportation. And I don't know, Lori or Mitzi, do either one of you want to address that right now?
Yeah, if you're not seeing any transportation on your FQSR, make sure your vendor is sending first 9 weeks student attendance summary. I know we have instructions from WinGauge and Infinite Campus on how to make sure you're doing this. So email me or Lori and we'll get them to you. Lori, you got anything?
I don't think so. I mean, I do know that I just had a phone call on this, so it kind of reminded me. So if you make a change on a Tuesday at noon, remember that transportation is requested on Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And when we say Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, that means 6 a.m., 7 a.m. So unless you made your change before that, it'll take till Thursday for it to pull, unless you send an email or call or text or scream, whatever. Please pull our data. And for the most part, we can pull your data unless the validations are really far behind, and they seem to get behind on the days that we pull that. So like today, for instance, I haven't asked if it's behind, but if you ask us, we might be able to pull it for you, and then it'll show up the next day.
And I was just going to throw in there, since we removed the comparison tab, and the reason we did that is because we were having some issues with numbers not matching right. The final report will do the same thing, but you can also go to your reporting tools and run your summary report. And that report can be run in Excel, CSV. So if you want to put it side by side with your reports, you can run it from that way.
Before we move on, there is a question in the chat. In years past, there have been a number 7 on the FQSR checklist asking about OSS students. I noticed that was missing this year. Is that an oversight, or do districts need to provide that OSS list for the first quarter?
Checklist comes from the RAOs. I do not know. That would be their suspended kids. I don't know if they eliminated that. I do know that there was something that was taken off of it to provide your IEPs for your 3-year-olds that was taken off mistakenly. I do not know about OSS. I'll text somebody and see if I can get an answer before we get off here.
Thanks, Lori. Also another question, she runs and her free and reduced numbers look correct on Excel, but the summary page before she confirms it's not correct. Any comment on that, Lori or Mitzi?
That's October 1, but I mean, that's something.
Oh, is it October 1?
Yeah, but I don't, maybe I was trying to text and read and listen, and I can't do all 3, and okay. I missed what you said.
Okay, so they're running the report and their free and reduced numbers look correct on Excel, but the summary page before they confirm it's not correct.
Yeah, that's an October 1 question. We'll have to take a look at that.
Okay.
But there is another question about the FQSR.
They still have to have the notarized. They still have to have the notarized affidavit. I do not know why they took that off there too. I didn't, they always send this to me to review, and I don't know what happened this year. I guess they didn't want me to review it, and they've taken off all kinds of stuff. The affidavit still has to be filled out. You still have to provide your IEPs for the 3-year-olds, and I will get the answer on the OSS kids.
Thank you. Also, I want to mention too, that if you're showing find missing students that weren't enrolled in your first quarter, it's kind of a sneak peek for your ASR. So go ahead and make sure that you're making those corrections so they will be good come time to do the ASR. Okay, and if you have any questions on your FQSR, you can send those to stateaid@sde.ok.gov. And also they're receiving emails and a voicemail, which is kind of backlogging them. So if you're going to call and leave a voicemail, really your email would probably be addressed quicker than a voicemail. So please keep that in mind and just give them one form of communication instead of multiple ones. And the next,
I want to answer, is there an issue with transportation reporting? There's not an issue with, well, okay. For some reason, during this first 9 weeks, people have not changed the first, to send first 9 weeks with their student attendance summary. We've always had little tidbits of problems with the transportation, just because there's so many objects that are connected to it that if one moves, then it messes up the transportation. That's the reason why, if you get down to a few kids, we can turn on-screen data so you can fix that. There are others we can do a delete and re-request, and a lot of times that fixes the whole site. So yes and no, we have problems with transportation. I don't know if that really helps you.
you're also asking when they need to notarize the form.
They're what?
When do they need to notarize the form?
Whenever they confirm when they confirm it at the principal level.
Okay,
And then whenever I re-pull a student for you, it will be between 24 and 48 hours. On a good day, it's 20. Pretty much it's 24 hours, but there's a few that slip through with that 48, and that is caused by validations getting behind. It matters what we're being pulled.
okay. We're gonna move ahead to the wizards that are out there. Of course, there's the ownership, and make sure you're resolving these students, because if they're to be counted in your district, if they're not resolved, then whoever had that student initially, when you go to confirm, they're going to be the ones, you're going to get a pop-up for one that says both districts are trying to claim the student, and you'll need to address that before your report can be certified. So make sure you're on top of your ownership issues and getting them resolved. Also on STNs, if you're not sure when you're choosing a student, if it's the correct one, please reach out to us or just leave it there and we can go in and resolve it. Okay, on our validation errors, we're still seeing numerous validation errors. They can also affect your demographics. And that'll create issues on your October 1st and your FQSR report. So be sure you're taking a look at those and making sure that they're resolved. Next page is I'm sure you're all waiting for this, PEBT. We've got 3 stages at this point. We've got the students that have already received their cards. We have students whose cards are actually in the process of being sent out. And then at to be determined, the correction window is going to be opened. And at that point, you'll be able to make your corrections on those students that haven't received a card. And then the 3rd stage is the students will receive payment once the corrections have been made. And, just as a reminder, make sure that your data is correct this year as they're sending those cards out, or they're pulling that data to make, to do the same this year. So be sure that date is correct. The report,
Can I jump in on PEBT? Can you go back?
I sure can.
Thanks. Couple other things that we're going to do. We're finishing up a guide for the report, and without showing any data, I'm going to kind of show you what it looks like now, which I'm hoping is a lot better to you guys. But give me just a second. Here we go. I'm going to share my screen real quick. Can I take it away from you guys for just a second, or somebody
Sure.
make me a host?
Sure.
Just stop sharing if you can. Sorry.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay, so when you come in, this is the whole state. I don't know, you can't see it yet. Hold on a second. Maybe, can you see it?
I can see it. I can
Okay.
see it.
So when you come in, you'll see this page, and it'll already be filtered down to your district. So I'm just going to pick a district, pick on Anderson. Thank you, Anderson, if you're on the phone. But whenever you come in as your district, it'll be your district, and you'll see your numbers here. And then you'll have a list of all of your sites. In this case, there's only one site, but you'll see yes and no based on yes and no eligibility count based on the numbers you have. You can hit this student view. I'm not going to hit it because it'll take me to student data that I don't want to release publicly, and we're recording this. So, but you hit this student view and it will take you to a list of all your students, and it'll have 4 filters up at the top. One of them's STN, one of them's, I think, last name, one of them is grade, and one of them is month. So you'll have to look at month by month. You can look at month to month. You can look at the grades. You can look at it's just a single student, however you want to do it. But it's much. I think it's much clearer on how to use this report. You will still sign into it through single sign-on. You'll just go in and click the button. It'll take you to this report. We are working on a guide for it right now, and as soon as the guide is ready, which shouldn't be too much longer, we're going to open up this report back for you guys to see the 2021, so the fiscal year of 2021's data that we sent to DHS. And then you can kind of start figuring out if there's something incorrect, where you're going to have to make your corrections when that correction window opens. But I did want to share that with you. I wanted to also tell you that the correction window, we do not have an exact date of when that will open, but we will give you plenty of time, or we will give you what we expect to be plenty of time to go through that. Feedback will obviously be acceptable and helpful to help us set an idea of, if we didn't give you enough time, or if we're not giving you enough time to go through some of that stuff. Trust me, I understand all the different things. It'll be this fall that we give you all that access to do that. But with class size and October 1 and FQSR and all the other things that are going on, I want to make sure that you understand that I know how much work you guys have on your plate, and we want to make sure that you guys have plenty of time to do all these things, while at the same time making sure that we get these funds out to our families. And I know that's your goal too. So I'm going to stop sharing. If you have any other questions about PBT, we will definitely.
There is one in the chat, Eric.
Okay, I don't know how to get off of this now. Won't let me. I'm sharing my screen. I don't know how to quit sharing my screen. Can somebody kick me off?
I'm trying.
All right, there we go.
Okay.
Thank you. And I'm going to go to the chat and see what the chat says here.
Says, I saw yesterday in Microsoft Teams that virtual online students didn't qualify for PEBT. Is that correct?
Terry, for you, so students who are enrolled in statewide virtual schools who do not serve meals are not eligible for PEBT. I want to be very clear. students who attend schools that do not serve meals are not eligible for PBT. Students that attend school districts that do serve meals, it is required for them, in order to be eligible for PBT, to have been either in a distance or virtual educational environment. And for every day that they were, and they missed that meal, and they were in attendance and in that educational environment, and they were free, reduced, CEP, provision 2, provision 3, for each day they are eligible. They are found eligible for PBT if they meet all those requirements. That's how you qualify. And that's why we're working with the, so Choctaw is, they serve meals. Everybody in your district that was virtual, for each day they were virtual and they were free or reduced or CEP, they will qualify. Okay.
And there's a question as when they're going to get access to the tool.
To that report, is
Yes.
what I'm guessing.
Yes.
As absolutely as soon as we can finish this guide up, so you guys can know how to use it. And we will. All I have to do is hit a button. It'll be super easy, super fast. So if they are free and reduced and on virtual all year, then they qualify. Yes, those students do qualify. So I don't want to answer that in the negative. So they do qualify, but also students who were free and reduced and only did virtual school for a day, they also qualify for that day. And any student who qualified for multiple days qualify for multiple days. You don't have to be virtual all year. You have to be virtual for at least one day. And they only qualify for the day that they were virtual. So they will get, if you only qualify for one day, you're only going to receive $6.82. If you were all year, you're going to receive $6.82 per day that you were virtual and qualified for free and reduced. I hope that clears it up.
Okay. All right, moving on.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. The WAVE state certification reports that are currently open, we still got the third grade promotional and retention report open. It closes on the 31st at 11:59 p.m. The FQSR is still open and will be open until December 1st at 11:59 p.m. And the consolidated report, October 1st, is going to close on November 1st at 11:59 p.m. So please make sure you have all these certified on or before. We really would like it before the close date, because if you're working them up into the close date, if there's issues, there's really not time to resolve them. New WAVE accounts. If you're giving a new employee access to the WAVE, it could take up to 24 hours for all the access to show up. In order to do that, please contact our service desk at omes.ok.gov. That's for SSO access and your affiliates login. The new class size app that's coming soon, it's because the legislator is requiring in January that class size be reported for all grade levels pre-K to 12. Data will come from your October 1st for your secondary schools, and for your elementary schools, it will be the, I believe, first quarter average daily attendance. You'll also have an opportunity to correct the data if it's not right before it's reported. And very soon we're going to have some testing done of this app. We've got some districts that have agreed to do so. And then once we find out there's no issues with it, we'll be releasing it to all the districts, and that date's to be determined. We still are receiving a high call volume or contact volume. Please allow 24 to 48 hours turnaround time for us to respond. When emailing, please, once again, I still see emails that include the student's name in the email. We don't need that. We just need either their local ID or their STN. So please make sure you're not sending that to us. And If you have any questions, you can email us at studentdatainfo@ste.ok.gov. Or if you need any reference materials, you can find it on the State Department's website under Student Information Documents and Guides. Okay, so now let's go back to the chat. When do we have to turn in our FQSR reports by? December the 1st.
No, I sent a message to her. They have to,
Oh, okay.
they have to have them ready before their REO gets there.
Oh, okay, that's true.
Yeah.
And normally it's supposed to be like 10 days after your,
Yes, that is
Yeah.
correct.
okay. When days, what days did you say you pull the data?
Attendance,
I put the
Tuesdays.
request schedule
Yeah.
in the chat. We pull